When I was 18, I took acid, and it was the best business decision of my life. It sent me on this spiritual awakening of sorts, and now I'm a 24-year-old entrepreneur. I'm gonna earn $20,000 this month in my video business, and I've learned so much along the way the last 6 years after psychedelics opened up the door for me to see into myself, into who I was, why I am the way that I am, and all that I could be in this life. And ultimately, what that taking acid did for me, LSD I like to say, it opened up this entirely new world of spirituality. It opened up an entirely new world beyond the physical. I had been a bit of a glut in my life. I loved sugar, I loved sex, I loved all the material things, the material pleasantries of life itself, and it showed me that there was so much more than that. And it allowed me to dive into myself, which is incredibly important, especially for a young college student who's not really sure what direction he's going in life and why. So with that, I began to meditate. I began to study Eastern philosophy, and that opened up a whole new channel for me, which is wisdom, an alternate way of thinking. God. It opened me up to God. Ultimately, I was atheistic, not quite atheistic, more agnostic. I had some sort of spiritual connection, but it wasn't meaningful in any sort of way. And what opening up to God did is it allowed me to connect to something higher. It allowed me to surrender myself to a power really greater than me. And with a power greater than me, I wasn't alone, right? So I'm surrendering to God spiritually. I am ultimately meditating every single day. I'm studying religious texts. I'm studying alternate forms of Eastern philosophy, self-awareness, emotional intelligence. And I did this for a while, and I thought I was gonna float away. I was on this path where really I could have flown away. I wasn't sure. One day I was gonna shave my head and move to India and become a monk. And then the next day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go TikTok famous. And I did. I went TikTok famous. I had 75,000 followers on TikTok. I was talking about conspiracy theories and Eastern philosophy and spirituality, and I was talking about reptile people. And I talked to this one friend, John, and him and I talked every single day. And it's like, yo, dude, did you read Children of the Matrix by David Icke? Hey, dude, check out Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins. Look at the map of consciousness. That's crazy. I didn't know that about emotional intelligence. And it was just these super high vibe, conscious conversations every day that really propelled me along the way. But there was not much of a direction where I was headed. Like I said, I could have floated away at any minute. All I wanted to do was deepen my spiritual practice, but it wasn't grounded in physical reality. And as an 18-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid at that point, I needed to have it grounded in reality. And I think my parents were getting a little bit worried. But ultimately, I found I had a real knack for those videos. And I did. I went viral on TikTok. We were getting millions and millions of views. And that was really telling for me about what my future would entail. I always knew that I wanted to do something creative. I wanted to make videos, but let me get past this cement truck. Come on, we're going. Woo! But I knew I wanted to make videos. I knew I wanted to tell stories. I knew I wanted to create and find a way to express myself fully. And that began to take shape into form, right? But I had to go through this fire of spirituality, of wanting to float away, of disengaging from the world entirely. And ultimately, that really brought me to an understanding of myself, emotionally, in my heart, but also in my mind. And I started to see why I was so drawn to these things of creation and videos, and really I started on this path, right, of videography. And I bought my first camera senior year of college, or actually it was a Christmas present, and I started making some videos for friends. I took some graduation photos, and I realized along the way that spirituality is great, but when it's not grounded in physical reality, in the material world, it can't have a full expression. And if I was to take that decision and go move to India and sit in a cave and meditate all day, I wouldn't be able to have this impact on the world that I'm having now. I wouldn't be able to really like impact people's lives in the way that I'm able to. I wouldn't be able to learn about myself through the world, because there's a concept called karma yoga in yoga and Hinduism. And ultimately what karma yoga is it's union through interaction with the world. It's union through the world. It's yoga whereby we are interacting with our family, our friends, our occupation, and we're learning about ourselves and deepening our relationship with God through our everyday action. And that's really the best path, in my opinion. And I used to listen to Ram Dass all the time, and he would talk about this, and I saw how impactful it really was, because when you disengage entirely, you cut yourself off from the lessons that you're supposed to be learning. And the impact that we can have is on this material plane. It's in the physical world. We need to be able to put our feet in the ground and tell people we love them and create a service or product that impacts the world in a positive way. And for me, that's through this art form of video that I do both for myself and for my clients. And it was difficult for me in the beginning to be able to put a price on videos, which were in art. It was difficult for me to be able to differentiate myself from, like, I used to feel guilty about earning money. When I was all into the spiritual stuff and I didn't have this grounding and entrepreneurship and business like I do now, I used to feel guilty about wanting things for myself, about wanting a family, about wanting to earn money, about wanting to make an impact or have a following and influence. And it kind of drove me mad. Drove me mad to an extent. Like, it was really upsetting to me when I started to have to do these things. And I used to think like money wasn't quote unquote spiritual, or thinking like, I don't know, anything worldly wasn't spiritual, but this is all spiritual. And I'm here walking with my shoes off, skateboarding around and making this video for the internet, and this is spiritual. This is an act of self-expression. And I found that self-expression is the ultimate spiritual pursuit. Is like, how can I open myself up so that God, our creator, can act through me, right? Express himself through me and express my own unique being as fully as possible. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I put myself on camera, and that's why I serve my clients, and that's why I still meditate 5 days a week and pray over my food. And I want to be the fullest expression of who I am more than anything else. And that matters to me more than anything else in the entire world, because there's nothing else that we are other than ourselves. And to make it to the end of our lives and see who we could have been, that's hell, to see who you could have been. And I don't want that for myself. I want to get to the end of my life and look myself in the face and know that I gave all that I possibly could to being the fullest expression of my being. And for me, that's through entrepreneurship and video and social media, and it's through speaking my truth and podcasting, which is coming really soon. And it didn't come through sitting in a cave in the Himalayas, and it didn't come through just posting TikTok videos about conspiracy theories, and it didn't come through just meditating all day and playing Qigong in the park all hours of the day. And that's the path for some people. And there are people that are walking that path that I love very dearly, but I found that it's not for me. I need to be grounded in purpose. I need to be grounded in something tangible and physical and material, because there are things that I want in life, and they're not to be ashamed of. They're things to be honored and revered, and that to me means a ton. So thank you so much for watching this. I love your support. I love your appreciation of who I am and who I'm meant to be. So with that being said, so much peace, so much love, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.